How can you say that is on its 18th segment? And apparently, it's a very auspicious number in the Jewish religion, which Jon will explain later. Good evening, everyone. Jon and I are back with segment 18 of How Can You Say That? And we are going to be discussing a successful day. I might add a beautiful and successful day because most times successful days are beautiful. Jon, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me. This podcast almost didn't even happen. People don't know what happened behind the scenes, but that's okay. We'll move on from there and enjoy the next 45 minutes or so. So you mentioned the number 18, being that we're on podcast number 18. So let me take a second and explain that, and then we'll get into the topic. In the Jewish religion, the number 18, there's a word for that because every letter in the Hebrew language corresponds with a number. And the word is chai. Chai means life, and that corresponds with 18. It's spelled with a yud and a hey. Those are the Hebrew letters. Yud is 10, hey is 8, which makes 18, and life. So the number 18 corresponds with living and enjoying and life in general. So tonight, being that it's segment 18, is a very special number. We did have our bar mitzvah podcast at 13, and now we're moving on to successful lucky number 18. And with that being said, we're going to talk about a successful day and what defines a successful day. So we're going to get into that topic very, very shortly. So anyway, how was your week, Jenny?
It was good.
Yeah, what'd you do? Anything fun?
It worked.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you define that as a successful week?
Yeah, I think whenever I go to work, it's successful because I get in the car and I make it there. And I spend 8 hours there, and then I come home. So, yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. So that gets into what I was going to say about the definition of a successful day. You really don't know anything about me. So I'm going to tell you a little insight into the way that I think sometimes. Very few people know this. Actually, outside of the people in my house, I don't think anybody knows this. I am the type of person that likes to be busy all the time doing things that I feel that accomplish something so that I can look back on the day and define that day as to whether I felt it was successful or not. So I have come up with a process for reviewing the day, and I do that in the evening. I actually refer to it as the day in review. And what the day in review is before I go to bed, I go through when I woke up in the morning until I go to sleep, the different things that I did to see if the day was productive and if I could define that as a successful day or not. Most of the time, I will say that a lot of things happened during the day that I got accomplished and I feel good about it. Every so often, there are days that I feel were not successful. And I say to myself, what was the point of even waking up today? If I didn't do things to make this a great day, knowing that everybody has limited time on earth, what was the point of even waking up? And I try to take corrective measures to not have that happen again. So that's my process called the day in review. Do you do anything like that? Or do you just define every day as successful?
I define every day as successful. Because for me, success isn't only measured by what I've achieved, but sometimes I think if I have a challenging day, I learn a lot about myself and how I cope with the challenge, and I measure that as success.
Interesting.
Why is it so interesting?
Well, I don't want to be mean. We had a whole conversation about me not being mean, so I'm just going to say that that's very interesting, and I'm not going to be mean.
Jon, why don't you just be you? The conversation was you be you and me be me with no judgments. But you, I've noticed, have great difficulty not letting people be who they are.
So hard to restrain myself.
Please
so hard. So hard. I was threatened with not being able to do any more podcasts if I'm mean. So I'm trying to not be mean. Okay. It's very difficult to not be mean for me. That's who I am. I could be mean.
Oh, I can be mean too.
I know. I just saw a whole bunch of mean from you.
Yes, but I don't like to go there because it's not who I really am intrinsically wired to be. But I can be anything I have to be when the occasion warrants it. I can hold my own, and I have all the tools to cope with every situation. Trust me, John. I tell people in me, there's the broomstick, and they're the wings and the halo. Take your pick.
Which you refer to as what? There's a term you call it. Am I not allowed to say? I can't even say the term. No.
Okay,
You'll just edit it out.
It's a bitch stick.
Yeah, the bitch stick. Exactly. Okay.
But I don't like to use it.
But I've been smacked by the bitch stick plenty of times.
Yeah, because John, you have a knack for like pushing me in the
In fact, I think the bitch stick
stick.
actually has my name on it. I saw the bitch stick and my name was written on there. And I think it's specifically used only on me.
Because I don't think there's another male in my life who is as irritating as you are. And I'm not trying to be mean.
It's so hard to control myself. I'm trying really hard. Keep going. It'll pass. It'll pass like a kidney stone. It'll pass.
Shouldn't you say what you want to say, John?
No, let's talk about a successful day. Okay, so in talking about successful days, I think a lot of what you define as a successful day has to do with what I would refer to as socioeconomic factors. Can I elaborate on that? Can I elaborate on that?
Have I stopped you?
No, but I'm asking, looking for confirmation.
Hey,
I'm not talking over you. I'm asking for permission to go ahead and talk about socioeconomic factors. Is that okay?
I said I haven't stopped you.
Okay. So I believe that the way you define a successful day, depending on who you are, is very subjective. Let's say you're somebody who is not in a great place in life. Let's say a homeless person, or let's say a person that doesn't make a very good living, or somebody that's really struggling. And those are people, of course, you have to have compassion on. But how do they define a successful day? Very different than somebody that is very comfortable and very well off. Maybe a successful day for somebody that's not in a good place is just being able to find something to eat 3 times a day, or to find shelter, or to just not, have an issue or a problem, to just get through the day. Some people might just look at getting through the day as being successful. There are other people that are on the higher end of the socioeconomic factor, maybe the total opposite end, that are very, very wealthy, very comfortable. And how do they define a successful day? Maybe it was making a lot of money. Maybe it was doing good things for people. Maybe it was accomplishing something that they tried to do, a real estate transaction or something like that. So my point that I'm bringing is that the definition of success, I think, is very subjective and relative to who you are and what your place is in life. And of course, there's a million things in between there. But you think that's an accurate assessment?
John, you're entitled to your assessments. I think, like you said, it's all relative. For some people who've never had the ability to make a lot of money or to live any other life other than the life they have lived, just waking up and having food to eat and a shelter at night is a successful day.
That's what I said. Exactly what I said.
So then, yeah.
Is this like one of those rare times that we're actually in agreement?
Apparently.
Interesting. Do you know where I was last week? I was in Atlantic City, New Jersey. You ever been there?
Yes.
What did you think of Atlantic City? And there's a reason why I'm bringing it up. What did you think of the people that you saw in Atlantic City?
I was there for one night. I went to the casino with a friend and then I left.
So did you walk around the boardwalk at all?
No.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You want me to tell you what you missed by not walking around the boardwalk?
Sure.
You sound so excited to hear. So I don't know if we've ever talked about this on a prior podcast, but have you gotten a look at what Middle America looks like?
No.
Yeah, I am talking to you. Yes.
Tell me, John. Tell me.
So, although New Jersey is not Middle America, Atlantic City attracts a lot of different people from around the country, sort of like Las Vegas. And what you notice about Middle America is it is a really, really, really in a sad place. Middle America, other than for the most part looking like a lot of white trash, Middle America is grossly obese. Did you ever notice that?
No.
And not only, go ahead. Yes, I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
I don't know. I haven't gone there.
Well, it's not only there. You go to Pennsylvania, you go to an amusement park like Hershey Park. Middle America, not only are they grossly obese, if you see what these people order at restaurants, at bakeries, at breakfast at the hotels, it is such a sad state on what this country looks like. And the people talk about China and China like beating the crap out of us in a lot of different areas. I understand it, and I actually see it. It's a scary, scary thing. Middle America really needs to get their act together, whether it's health, whether it's wellness, fitness. It's really, really a scary thing. Yes, Jenny, were you going to say something?
No, I'm listening.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I get annoyed when you cut me off, so I like to allow you to finish what you're saying.
We made a deal before. We weren't going to cut each other off, so I'm adhering to that.
Oh, so I'm listening to you. I agree with what you said.
You care to add anything to that?
I've been to China many times, and I've not seen any fat, overweight people.
Exactly my point. They're doing something right, and we're doing something horribly wrong.
What they're doing,
which is
they eat healthy meals. One, they drink hot tea with all of their meals. Two, and they've done studies that show when you eat and you drink a lot of sugar and ice water, any fats that you ingest, your body hangs on to it, versus when you drink hot beverages with your meals, the fat is melted from the hot beverages and the body flushes it. They have studies that I've read that confirms this is that makes this a fact.
So here's my question for you. Why are we not teaching stuff like that in schools to children?
I'm not a school teacher, and I don't have any involvement in the school curriculum or the subjects that they teach. But I've said this on a few of my shows before. The problem with a lot of situations and a lot of life in America is we see other countries successful at doing certain things. We don't change anything we're doing, but we're expecting a different result, which is the definition of
insanity. Yes.
Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I look, for example, at the gun situation. There are countries where they have no mass murders. They have gun control. But a lot of Americans don't want that. And for me, I wish we could try what other countries are doing that are benefiting them. Because we want the same result, and we're doing it one way, and it keeps on blowing up in our faces. We have a very unhealthy population, like you say. I see them everywhere. I can't, it's not a black thing. I see many different
black thing. What does that do with black?
Because some people, I've heard people say, "Oh, there's all these fat black women," but it's not just fat black women. It's
there are a lot of fat black women, a lot of fat white women as well.
Exactly. So,
but a lot of it does have to do with diet. I have read studies that show specifically about the diet that African Americans eat.
Genetically wired to be obese, so they have to be even more careful than other people in terms of what they're ingesting.
Okay, fine. So, but my point was, why isn't this in part of the curriculum in school about health and wellness?
How do you know for a fact that it's not?
No,
some schools,
but if it is, it's not working.
Well, because teachers only have so much power. At the end of the day, the kids go home, and the teachers are not teaching the parents. They're teaching the children, and a lot of children are powerless to create change in a home.
So then I think that defining a successful day for certain people that are not in good shape, physically, let's say, should be correcting the diets and the food that they consume and redirecting it into things that are more healthy so that they can actually live a longer life. In fact, I have a term. You ever hear the term buyer's remorse? When you buy something and then you realize, oh my God, why did I do that? I wasted my money. I shouldn't have done that. I spent too much. I feel bad about that. You know the term buyer's remorse, right? Okay, so I have a different term called eater's remorse. Eater's remorse is like, let's say I have a weakness for chocolate or bakery stuff. And let's say I gorge myself on it. And as I'm eating it, I'm going, oh my God, this is so delicious. I'm loving every second of this. And then when I'm done, I look at that empty chocolate bar wrapper, which was a 4-portion serving. And I go, I can't believe I ate that myself. And I have what I refer to as eater's remorse. What are you looking at?
It's showing on you.
Oh, I thought we were going to be nice to each other. Oh, you couldn't help yourself. Okay. Okay, you want to take the gloves off, Gleave? Is that what you want to do? You want to take the gloves off? We made a deal. We made a deal and you broke the deal. Just for the record, you were the one that broke the deal. And right now, had you not taken away my prop, I would have used it. Can I talk about the prop that I took away, or you don't want me to talk about the prop?
Jonathan, what have I said or done wrong? You just told a story about your glutton behavior toward chocolate. And I, as you were speaking, have been noticing the last few times I've seen you.
Go ahead.
Chocolates, bro.
Go ahead. Yeah. Finish that sentence. Finish the sentence. Go ahead. You started something. Finish it. Go ahead. You notice what? That I got fat? Is that what you're going to say?
No.
Oh, that if, like in the prior podcast, that I'm 4 months pregnant, and then you said, no, it's 5 months, or you added a few months to that?
No, it's
Go
just
ahead.
the evidence of your chocolate consumption hanging around the middle portion of your body. And I mean, even Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder.
Why it's so hard to be nice.
I'm just merely mentioning a fact
Mhm.
because this is not even a thing of opinion.
Mhm.
It's blinding, Jenny.
You know that when I came to the studio today and you put me to work immediately hauling the garbage out of the studio, cleaning things up like I'm a freaking janitor, you happen to have finally been wearing flat shoes, and I realized how short you are. You keep talking about how giant sized you are. Meanwhile, you look like you're about 4'10".
I weigh 112 pounds and I'm 5'4".
No, I think it's closer to 4'10". You actually made me feel tall when I stood next to you in flats.
DMV. I just went there.
You probably stood on your tippy toes.
No.
Yeah. Was that a successful day for you? Getting 5'4" on your driver's license when you're really 4'10"?
So no.
Yeah, I think that's what you did. Actually, you went home and said, "Wow, this is a successful day. I managed to fool the DMV into thinking I'm 5'4" on my driver's license, even though I'm only 4'10". That's what I think happened.
You know, John, you've always had a desire to be taller than I. And
it's not a desire; it's a fact.
And for most of the times, I wear heels, and I can drink soup on your head. And so tonight, when you came to
drink soup on my head,
yes,
that's a strange analogy.
Heels, I'm very tall, so I could put my soup bowl on your head.
Okay, and if I were to stand on stilts, I'd be very tall. Also, we're not talking about like it's like someone saying, "Oh, I'm beautiful when I wear makeup." Well, take the makeup off. Let's see what you look like without it, because that's what you really look like.
You don't run around in stilts, but women generally. Some women.
Well, I'm a midget. Maybe I should. You call me a midget. Maybe I should walk around in stilts.
Well, Jonathan,
Mm-hmm.
because I've always had tall boyfriends, I've never had anybody your height. That's why you feel like a midget when you're next to me, but I'm not calling you a midget.
Call me a midget every other day. Okay, I don't take offense to it. It's fine.
5'2", that's why.
5'2". Oh, 5'2". Right. You want to see my driver's license?
No.
Oh, let's see what my driver's license says. Hold on a second. Oh, that's my police ID from the good things that I do for the community. Go ahead. Oh, now you brought up the bell. I was waiting for that. What does this say? I'm sorry. What does this say?
The first thing he told me when I met
5'6", right there. Mm-hmm.
Is that he's a police.
Yeah, it's the first thing I did.
He later told me he was a wannabe police.
Yeah.
But hats off to John. I think it's great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're covering your bases on that one. So let me tell you what I brought about the prop that I brought to the studio today. Yeah.
Let's get back to the community.
So I brought a prop today. It was a bell, and the bell was meant to be used actually by both of us, despite popular belief, to call each other out at any time either one of us starts spewing a pile of bullshit that's untruth. We were going to have an opportunity to ring the bell and call it out. And I called it actually the boasting bell. Now, prior to the podcast, I just simply went to the bathroom to pee for a second, and I came back, and the bell was miraculously gone. The bell was hidden from me because Jenny was afraid that bell would be used against her.
Afraid of anything.
Well, you are, because you were afraid the bell was going to... Then give me the bell. Can I have the bell?
I am not afraid of anything.
Oh, okay, but I don't have the bell.
This podcast, I decide what goes out there, so I have nothing to fear. I don't know what you're
Control freak.
Then you should learn to have it. Then you
don't. Oh, we're back on that.
Control.
I don't need control. It's okay. You can have control. You could be the boss. It's fine.
So you And then you had a conniption when you couldn't find it.
No, you stole my stuff. I was going to use it for the benefit of the podcast. Now the listeners are not going to be entertained by it. I had a whole thing I was going to do. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What'd you do on Juneteenth? How'd you celebrate Juneteenth? You're half African American, right?
Not the full half.
Your mother is African American. That makes you half.
African American, but who cares?
Well, Juneteenth. It's a national holiday. I'm just asking you what you did.
You know, I always identify as a Black woman.
So what did you do on Juneteenth? That's my point.
I spent it with someone I really love.
Well, how did you celebrate the freedom of slaves being freed? And
we did fun stuff, which I don't really care to share with the world. At this time.
At this time, so at a later date, you will?
I might.
I guess you wouldn't take very funny.
I know, John, what did you do? Because I know this is...
Well, I was going to tell you this. Okay, I was going to tell... No. I was going to tell you something, but being that you identify as Black, it's probably not a great idea if I say it. So I'm going to...
I identify as Black because my mom is mostly Black, and I was raised in a Black family.
I wasn't.
I was, and it was the best upbringing. I was raised by amazing parents.
That's great. My parents suck.
Change it.
I would change my parents in a heartbeat. So you know how people are when they text.
This podcast, no, they've heard your mother being abused on this podcast almost weekly.
I don't abuse her. I simply requested that she bake something for me. I don't think that's abuse.
That's not requesting. That's demanding. You simply demand that your mom, who's not well, bakes you stuff.
Maybe I'm not well. And maybe being raised by those parents, I'm not well.
Everything you've ever said, this is the one thing I think I take hats off to. Because when your mother was being taken away in an ambulance, you were raiding her refrigerator of waffles.
Please refer to podcast number 5 or 6 for that. You'll get more color on that. Speaking of color, you said you identify as Black, so I'm not gonna. You know how people are lazy, instead of writing OK when they text, a lot of times they just write the letter K, like short for OK. And then there's some people that write KK, like, I don't know, I guess okay, or whatever it is.
I would worry if they put KKK.
That's okay. Thanks for taking my thing. That's what I do. I write KKK. Which again,
the fact that I guessed this scares
me. You read it off the paper. I had it written right there. Yeah, you did. Okay, yeah. Oh, my paper's stupid now also. Okay. Okay.
I'm not reading your notes. I was just going to say that because it's a logical thing to say when you said the first 2 Ks. I'm sorry. I guess that was the build-up. That's where you were building up. I didn't mean to put the punch in your little...
Back to successful day. Can we stop getting off topic? So also, I think there's a serious difference between how different people in society, other than from socioeconomic factors, define a successful day. Different genders, men and women, they would have different definitions of what a successful day would be as well. People that are married, that are not married, people that have kids, people that don't have kids, people that are religious, people that are not religious. I think that it's so subjective as to having a successful day that it's very difficult to have like a benchmark.
And I think this is why we have a topic like this. You speak of your successful day because you cannot. And you have a tendency to want to speak on everyone's behalf. But I think it behooves you to... this is not meant to be an attack on you, John. But when I suggested this topic, I was coming from a place of you and your experience with it.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep talking. Go.
I'm done. I made the point.
Mm-hmm. What point was that?
Because you are struggling by telling me how it's all subjective to, if you're a lesser socioeconomic person, or speak about your successful day. And I will speak about my successful day.
Oh, you just want to speak about your successful day. Go ahead. Why don't you go first?
No, I'm not.
Here's what I define as a successful day. And there's a difference between a weekend and a weekday. But let's say we're talking about a weekday. A weekday, a successful day always has to start off the same way for everybody. That is opening your eyes and waking up in the morning. If you open your eyes and wake up in the morning, that means that you had a successful day. Because you can't not wake up in the morning and have a successful day, because that means that you're dead. Okay, I know. Thank you. Okay. So she's pointing out my ThAt. It's, okay, wonderful. You make me feel so special. If you don't wake up in the morning, it means you're dead. So starting off the day successfully means you woke up. Secondly, what? Are you in a coma? What's the problem?
I am allowing you the privilege of what you're saying by not interrupting you. You don't rub off on me on all levels, John.
So after you wake up, obviously natural progression is whatever. You go to the bathroom, you take a shower, brush your teeth, whatever, and then you get out of the house, and then your day really starts. Now, there are a lot of religious people that will start the day by praying in the morning. Maybe if you just wake up and you pray and you did that portion of the day, maybe a lot of people would just consider that a successful day.
That's what I do.
Okay, well, that's good. So you get off to the same start of the day that I do. But then what about the rest of the day? There's these 10 extra hours of the day. What do? I always try to do things that I can look back on at the end of the day and be proud about, whether it's helping somebody, whether it is assisting somebody, whether it is through my job, trying to help someone make a financial decision. Oh, did you just ring the boasting bell that you hid? Interesting. So as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by a fake dinging bell. I think if you could look back on the day and the bottom line of that day is I really did something good because I helped people. I helped someone. I helped them feel better. I helped them financially. I helped them emotionally. I think a good portion of that is how I would define a successful day. Now, on the superficial level, of course, it's, well, I made money today. I went to work, I made a living, or I bought a stock and it went up. I mean, but those are very superficial things. I think the way people should look at defining a successful day is a lot deeper than that. And it's really how they treated other people, how they made people feel that day, whether it was good or bad, whether it was your kids, coworkers, friends, or things like that. How do you define a successful day?
Same.
That's it?
Every day of my life, when I wake up, the first thing I do is I thank God that I'm awake. I say my prayers, I exercise, shower, and I'm off to work. But my goal every day is somehow to be the change I want to see in the world, even if it's in the tiniest way, even if it's by not engaging in road rage, because some days I'm very tempted, because there are a lot of bullies in the world and they seem like they exist in hordes on the freeway. I mean, I can't believe how many of them. But when I go to
By the way, in New York, we call it a highway.
Okay.
Freeway is very California.
Okay. And then, like, for example, at work, the guy who brings the UPS packages, I'll give him my apple. Or the cleaners who are cleaning the bathroom, I give them my banana. I try to give something every day to somebody who does not expect it, and who will really be touched by it. And every single day, I set a goal to do something like this for someone, and I do. And if I have too many bed sheets or towels or whatever, I'll make packages of it and give it to different people.
Is that why the cleaning lady in the studio is wearing Chanel? Did she get those clothes from you? I'm just asking. What?
Anyway, so for me, a successful day is when I can do the smallest gesture and put a smile on someone's face and watch their reaction to something as simple as that. When they leave, or when I come home, or when I walk back to my desk, wherever this occurs, whenever it occurs, watching that person's reaction, because they don't expect it. And you can tell they're like, oh, wow, I didn't expect this. And it's simple, even if it's something as small as an apple or an energy bar or a beverage of some kind, to watch their appreciation and the fact that they look at me like, I can't believe you thought of me to do this. And I think the world needs more of this and less of people attacking each other like you are always doing with me.
I knew it had to end in that somehow. So I did something like that when I was away on vacation overseas. When I was in Israel, we went touring in a very holy part, and there were a lot of soldiers in that part. And what I did is every time I saw a soldier come into the restaurant, I paid for his meal. or her meal. A lot of female soldiers also. Also a very unexpected gesture, just as you were explaining. So you didn't know there's nice parts about me too. You know what I would define as a successful day?
Could you hold that? I wanted to remember to say this. When my children were younger, and my husband, their father, did not want me to go to work. And so we made a deal that every Friday would be my day to do what I wanted to do. And every Friday, while my children were young, I drove to the grocery store, and back in the day, you could do this. I picked up all the bread and anything that wasn't perishable, that wasn't sold, that they were getting rid of, and I brought it to the church. And then every Friday, myself and others like me bagged the groceries, and various families came to the church, and they lined up, and we put it in brown paper bags, and they were given this food to take home for the weekend. And I have to tell you, at that time in my life, that was the most beautiful thing that I could do. And I looked forward to it. And every night when we were finished and I drove home, it was the thing that I felt the happiest.
Oh, that must have been the days when you were nice.
Yeah.
Where have those days gone? When was the last time you packed a meal for four people?
Nice people.
When was the last time you packed one of those meals? How many years ago?
I don't have the ability to do that now.
Why?
Number one,
what do you do on Sundays?
City.
Saturdays and Sundays. What do you do?
I'm in a new city. Number two, you can't go to the grocery stores these days, and they have to throw the.
You can't go to the grocery stores these days?
And collect food that is not sold, because now they have all these rules.
Well, there are organizations that you can volunteer with that actually do that.
That they have to throw it. They have to throw it away.
No, wrong. In New York, there's an organization called Rock and Wrap It Up. You want to look that up? You can Google that. It's actually in my neighborhood where they do things like that. There's also another organization that collects all the food from catering halls that wasn't eaten from a party, and they distribute it as well. So there actually are things you could do if you like to do something nice like that on a Saturday or a Sunday when you're not at work or preparing. Oh, you don't have time to be nice? Oh, it's a shame.
Jonathan, I work 45 minutes from my home. It takes me 45 minutes to get to work, 45 minutes to get.
I said weekends. Saturdays and Sundays.
Weekends are the only times I have since I
nice.
have a wife or a husband.
Well, you could get a wife. I'm not making any judgment on that.
So I have to do everything for myself.
Speaking of a wife, you know what I would define as a successful day? If I was married to a woman who is a gynecologist, and there was a take your husband to work day, and I was able to go to work with her, I would define that as a successful day.
Where's the bell?
That was on your paper. I read your notes. You wrote that down. Sicko. What's wrong with you?
Disgusting. Anybody.
Well, you did. I just saw it on. Where do you think I got that from? You think I thought of that on my own? Like I'm some sort of disgusting animal?
To do something to annoy me because I hit the bell. And that's all this is. I did not write that anywhere.
Yeah, well, it's on your notes.
Something. I was a nurse. I worked in delivery rooms many years of my life. So why would I want to do?
Do you know?
See this?
When I tried to do something nice for you, you know how you talk about giving out like a banana or an apple or clothing to people and stuff like that. I specifically made a note that there was a day where I came into the studio and had various chocolate bars for you. And instead of being gracious and saying thank you, you accused me of getting them for free from someone and just giving them to you because they were left over. And I vehemently denied that was the case. But today I'm here to make a confession. And that is, I did not get them for free, but I did have a free $10 coupon at Best Buy that I used for the chocolate bars.
I knew that, Jonathan. I don't need a confession.
So hypothetically,
you don't give anything that you spend.
Hypothetically, I didn't pay for them. I had a coupon, but I did genuinely bring them for you because it was a certain type of chocolate that you said you liked. There, the confession. You happy? You got what you wanted. Cat got your tongue?
No, I've just grown up and now I choose my words wisely.
Oh, starting today you did that?
I said nothing.
Yeah.
I learned from her.
That actually was a very good expression.
I learned. Okay.
You know, about speaking of that, women, you know, like actually you do a lot of this also around me. Women talk in code. You ever notice that? The things that they say isn't necessarily what they mean. A lot of it is like trying to get a reaction from the other side or a test. You're big at running tests also. saying things to try to see how a person will react to stuff like that. Women can't just talk like plain regular English. Everything's a code. And by the way, about this code, I don't think men are supposed to understand it. I think the code is amongst women. It's like a secret language that women have that men are not supposed to be able to understand. I don't know if it's like almost talking in opposites, but the words that actually come out don't mean what they're saying. They mean a whole bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
Do you deny the secret language of women?
Secret language. You see, Jonathan, over my months of experience with you, I realized that number one, you listen with an agenda. And so I've had to try to write code, like they do at Google, to see if I could reach you, if I could get the points across. And to date, although I've written many codes and tried many different formulas,
ding, ding,
I can
ding,
honestly
ding,
say
ding. Where's my
that
bell?
I've had no success.
So you failed.
I still cannot get through to you.
Just say the words, I failed.
But no, I haven't failed. You listen with an agenda, so you don't get to put words in my mouth.
What would my agenda be?
Your agenda is you know everything. You know the way everybody should live their life, and you tell us how they do it so wrong because this is how they're doing it. This is the way it should be. And when I react in certain situations, and I explain what I'm doing, you correct me, and you tell
I correct you if you're
me.
wrong, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a thought that's coming from me, and it's a choice I am making. So how do you get
Because
to
sometimes I
know
feel like you need
this?
to be parented. That's why. I think you're like a child that has no structure, and I try to parent you to create some structure for
Well,
you.
you might be right, because I hate structure.
Ah,
I do not
So we
like
joke around in my household, like one of my kids will be eating candy at 1 a.m. or something. When I say kids, they're actually all adults. We joke around how we say, "Oh my God, there's no structure in this house." So I try to create like a format for you, some structure to keep you. No, it's going to do with control. It's just trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you like
freak.
control over you.
Listen, not me, but I listen to you, how you are with everything and everyone, and you have in your head the way everyone should live their lives. Well, let me tell you something about me. I hate structure. I was raised by a like over the top strict stepfather, and he was like you in a lot of ways. Maybe that's why we fight so much. But I am not someone who will be living in a box or in a circle. Taboos and cliches, they don't apply to me. I am comfortable in my skin being me. I am uniquely me. And as long as I'm not hurting anyone, I don't care.
You hurt my feelings before.
I'm arrogant. I'm conceited. I am whatever. I am me, and I'm happy being me.
You told me I can't bring any of that stuff up, and you just brought it up yourself.
Healthy people get me.
I'm healthy. I don't always get you.
You don't have to get me. You get Karen, and you're good. Those people who are supposed
What
to
is
get me, they get me.
What is the objection to having structure? Why do you view structure as a negative?
Don't. But I, Jennylyn, choose not to have any. I'm independently a unit.
So you wake up at 2 a.m, start eating ice cream? Like
because I have disciplines. I know that if I
discipline is structure, by the way, honey. Maybe you didn't know that.
I disagree. I disagree. Discipline.
Wait, let me take your foot out of your mouth because you just put it in your mouth. Discipline is a form of structure.
It's a form of structure.
Yes.
It is a form of structure, but I'm not saying that I don't conform to structure.
Yeah, you are. You said you don't conform. You said your own.
I don't like taboos. I don't like cliches. I don't like.
You said you don't like structure.
I don't like structure, but there are times when I have to adhere to structure.
Well, you live in a society.
It's governed by structure.
Correct.
But not, I don't have to adhere to everything and all of it.
So what you're saying is you do.
What I do is if you let me finish, I will say what I do. I do not break the law, but when I have a choice, I don't want to live my life in a box. I'm not religious. I believe that God is, and I have a personal relationship. And although religion can be good because it provides camaraderie
And structure.
It's some kind of structure, but
a lot of structure.
So as far as I know, my life would work great for me, and I have learned a lot and done things that annoy you when I speak about it. You call it conceit, and that is because I have chosen to embrace my life as a unique individual that God created different from everybody else, like He did all of us.
Miss Gleave.
And I live my life the way I choose to by not hurting anybody and breaking the law.
Oh, Miss Gleave, you just made a statement before about not breaking the laws, right?
When did I break the law?
How many tickets did you get the other day in the mail?
I had 3 tickets.
People are given tickets for breaking the law.
2 of them.
Interesting.
2 of the tickets.
No, we're not talking about the specifics of the tickets. You got tickets. You broke the law. You sped. You went through red lights.
The person driving the car for 2 of them.
Oh, but for one, were you?
One of them, it's not that I was speeding. I was being chased.
By who? Your own shadow?
No, I had people behind me getting
chasing you.
Mad because I was trying to go at the speed limit.
So you know what you do in that case? You let them cut you off and go around you and speed in front of you, and then they get the ticket.
They couldn't because there were people on either side of me, and the guy behind me was.
No one is believing this.
It's true. I could see him in my rearview view.
This is like when my son got a ticket. You know what I told him to do?
Why you call me a liar?
Well, I don't want to use that word.
But if you're
I was warned not to.
The incident that Ali was involved in, and I'm relaying.
I'm simply saying you said you don't break the law, but you got a bunch of tickets. So you kind of broke the law. That's all I'm saying.
Tickets. 2 of them, I was not driving the car. Someone else was driving my car. And the 3rd ticket, I felt scared for my life.
Did you call the police?
No, I didn't call the police.
But you scared for your life. You had no interest in calling the police.
Behind me was in a rage.
Oh, so that's why we take down a plate number and we call 911 if we're truly in fear of our life.
Number down of someone behind you.
Rear view mirror, because in New York we have license plates in the front and in the back.
Well, I couldn't see his rear view mirror because he was practically on the ass of my car.
So let me tell you what I do in that situation, because you always say that I'm perfect, right? So here's another example. You know what I do and what I've done in the past? I stop short. And when they hit you in the back, it's their fault, and then they have to pay. Okay, I'm just simply telling you. See, there's ways of teaching people lessons on the road.
Jonathan, you're a man. Number 1, I'm a woman. I'm new to New York. I don't know the ropes here.
Haven't you been here at least a year already?
I haven't been driving for a year. I have been in and out of the country the first 6 months.
You came here with a car, didn't you?
My car came here 6 months after I was here.
First 6 months you were in New York, you didn't have a car?
No, because I was traveling. I was in and out of the country.
Right.
I only really started living here from about October of last year.
Interesting.
I was traveling back and forth and leaving. And
go ahead, start talking about all your travels so I can hit the boasting button.
You know what? I'm not going to change me because of you and your stupid. Whether you think I'm boasting or not is beside the point. I don't really care.
You know what I define as. Oh my
because
God.
you've done things that you can't even do in your
I think
dream.
the window just broke from that pitch.
This is why you're so mad.
You know what I define as unsuccessful during the day? Getting ripped off. You ever get ripped off?
Yes, by you all the time.
It's such a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Can I give you an example of getting ripped off? So my daughter broke her glasses the other day. Well, like 2 weeks ago while she was overseas. And my wife, and this is why I always have to do things myself. When I delegate things, it seems to always go wrong. So that's why I tend to do things myself. So my wife goes into the store with my daughter and says to the glasses guy, listen, the arm broke off on the glasses. Can we just order new frames and we'll take the lenses from the existing frames and just put them in the new new frames that we're ordering because they're the same ones. The guy orders new glasses and new lenses. And instead of costing like $125 for the frame, it's almost $300.
You can afford that.
It's not a question of affording. So my wife comes home and goes, oh, look, Carly got new glasses. And I go, what do you mean she got new glasses? She's only supposed to get new frames. Why did you spend $300? She goes, well, he brought the glasses out. I felt bad saying something. So I just took them. I go, well, what about feeling bad for me or you that we just spent the money? We just overpaid by $175 for no reason. Why do you feel worse for the guy that ripped you off in the glasses than you do for us wasting our money and throwing it in the garbage?
I'm so happy I'm not your wife.
That,
jeez.
When I did my day in review, caused the entire day to sink in failure like the Titanic. And it was horrible. Another example. My daughter goes into the bagel store for breakfast the other day. I get a notification that she charged $28 on the credit card. So I call her up and I say, Courtney, I go, what happened? I thought you just went for breakfast at the bagel store. I had to come out to $28. She goes, well, I ordered a bagel and cream cheese, but instead he gave me a bagel, cream cheese, and lox, and it was like $17. So I just got a muffin and a drink instead because she doesn't eat fish because she's a vegan or vegetarian or whatever. I go, why didn't you just say to the guy, I didn't order the bagel and lox, and just say I ordered bagel and cream cheese, which was like $4.95 instead of $17. She goes, I don't know. I just couldn't do it. He made it already and gave it to me. And I felt bad saying it. I said, you felt bad? You sound like exactly the same way mommy does. I go, what do you feel more bad for the guy that tried to rip you off than for the parent that's paying the bills? And I could go on and on with example after example. This is what goes on in my house. You know what happens? The next few days, I have to go back to all of these retail stores and clean up the messes and get my money back. This is what happens. I have a pile of receipts in my car. The rip-off receipts is what I call them. And I go back to each retailer, have an argument with them until I get my money back. Why can't people just adhere to like being normal and say, okay, I didn't order this, I'm not paying for it, and I'm only going to pay for the appropriate thing that I ordered. Instead, again, it's just a complete waste of time. Now, when I do my day in review and I corrected some of these errors, it goes down as a success. But why do I have to waste my time like that? This is the fights that go on in my house. You're lucky you don't live in my house.
I am lucky I don't live in your house. I would love to live in your house if you weren't living in the house.
Yeah. You wouldn't survive a day in my house with me there.
No, John, it's hard enough surviving the nights we do the podcast.
Yeah, it is very difficult for me, actually. You're right. Very, very hard for me. There was something. Oh, no, there was something else I wanted to.
Never sure was better at shutting you up.
There was something else I want. Okay, I'll talk about it next time. It was the slavery reparations thing that's going on in San Francisco. We'll talk about that next time. Okay, fine. Do what you want. Just shut the whole thing down. I don't care.
Shut up. Enough of your hot air.
I just want to leave the stupid studio already anyway. I had it with you already today. Too much Jennylyn time.
Well, we are so grateful that you guys listen to us. Hopefully, you laugh. I get annoyed when I hear you laugh. So please keep laughing because John does not amuse me. But I do this because I am hoping that one day he will get tired of hearing himself. John?
Well, after podcast number 1, I was tired of hearing you, but you provided me a forum for other people to hear me express myself, and that's much appreciated.
Anyway, he's a really cool guy. I just like to bust his chops. He's one of my best friends, and I do enjoy the banter that you listen to every week.
Does that mean I have to say something nice about you now?
No, it's okay. I'm comfortable in my skin.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you. We will be back next
Okay, fine. I don't dislike you. Okay? I don't dislike you. I mean, you're not completely annoying. Maybe you're like, I don't know, like 40% annoying.
John, whether you like me or you don't like me, I like and respect you a lot. I even love you.
What are you buttering me up for? What do you have a job for me to do here or something? What?
We will be back next
Maybe.
week.
Possibly.
Okay. I will be back, maybe not with John, but we will be back with segment 19. Until then, stay safe. And you have been listening to How Can You Say That? And I'm sure you get the name now. The podcast where we are always raw and authentic. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching us. And please hit the like and subscribe button.
And also, if you want to listen to prior podcasts, because as we mentioned, this is number 18, you can find all of them on Conversations with Jennylyn. And we will be creating a separate tab on that website for the podcast, because apparently there are people that subscribe to your channel that don't care for me very much and my existence and my attitude and my positions and my comments and all this stuff. So we're going to put that on a separate tab for those that are offended by me and can't handle it. They don't have to click on it. Right?
And we will see you next time. John can't help the diatribe.
Goodbye. Good night.